Hello, welcome to Bloodhouse, the show where we talk about art house horror movies. I'm your host, Joshua Conkle.
And I'm your plague-ridden, blood-sucking co-hostess, Drusilla Adeline. Welcome back to another episode.
I'm trying to say the intro different every time now because I feel like I got caught in a pattern. But as a result of that, I feel like my intro is like a little stunted now.
You're finding yourself.
Yeah, 2 years in, I'm finding myself.
Exactly.
How's it going? What's going on?
I'm good. Los Angeles is currently kind of abuzz with a very certain energy and fever at the moment, and I love it. And it is very much to do with the presence of one man in our city. I believe he's left our city at this time, but his presence still lingers heavily over that. And that is the mustachioed maestro and Pope of Trash himself, John Waters. Who's been in town for the opening of the Academy Museum exhibit on him, dubbed Pope of Trash John Waters. He came in town to open that museum piece, along with a screening series at the Academy, and then a star ceremony on the Hollywood Walk of Fame. So
no one has ever deserved that more than John Waters deserves it.
Truly. And somehow Donald Trump and the cast of The Big Bang Theory beat him to that honor.
No, not fair.
Sure.
There are some real nobodies on that Walk of Fame, to be honest.
Well, he got
I'm just joking.
a primo spot. His star is right in front of Larry Edmonds' bookshop on Hollywood Boulevard, which is one of the only things to do at Hollywood Boulevard is going to Larry Edmonds.
I love Hollywood Boulevard, actually. I love taking tourists there because they don't expect it to be as sleazy as it is. I think.
It's so disgusting.
It's really sleazy. And I do love LA because people are constantly pissing and shitting on Donald Trump's star.
Yeah.
Defacing it in various ways. So God bless LA in that regard.
It's great. Yeah, so part of that was they're doing a screening series of all of his available films at the Academy.
And unavailable. I mean, they screened Eat Your Makeup, which is like super rare.
They screened Eat Your Makeup. His early shorts, including Eat Your Makeup, the feature Mondo Trasho, the Diane Linkletter
story, yeah.
And Roman Candles are all a part of the exhibit. They're not Eat Your Makeup screened with a commentary by John, but all of those are a part of the exhibit. They at John's behest recut Mondo Trasho to a more condensed state.
It's a hard watch as a movie.
Yeah. I saw him speak over the weekend at the feature debut of the screening series with Serial Mom, which is the one that he wanted to speak at because it's his favorite of the films, and as he says, his best film. And at that, he was thanking the Academy for setting all that up, but he also was like, and I'm so grateful that they cut down my movies, because now each of those early ones is like 10 minutes each, and that's what they belong at. And you know what? I got to do the museum exhibit. I got to go through. It's one of the largest like single installation pieces they have is the John Waters exhibit. It's massive. And there is a whole section where you can sit down and watch the early films, which are wholly unavailable. They're not fully restored, but they are scanned like the highest resolution possible you're ever going to be able to see them, and they look incredible. They're so amazing and weird and funny, and they have so much more like religious elements and fantasy elements and fairy tale stuff that you don't really get in like Multiple Maniacs and Pink Flamingos and Female Trouble. That stuff starts to crop up in like
Desperate Living
a lot, in Dirty Shame, and a little bit in Multiple Maniacs, but it is so prevalent in these early shorts, and it's so fun. And it's such a treat to be able to like actually sit down and partake of that. All of them together comes out to be like 30, 40 minutes.
can't wait. I haven't been to the Academy Museum yet. It is somewhat new to Los Angeles, and this is the thing that's going to make me finally go. I would not miss this for the world. Love John Waters.
If you have not been before, plan a day. Especially if you're going to the John Waters exhibit takes like 2 hours.
Okay. I will happily spend 2 hours there.
The John Waters exhibit is incredible. They have whole exhibits set up to each phase of his, like each film in his career, with large recreations and actual like costumes and props from every film. They also have, original costume and prop sketches all the way back to Multiple Maniacs in the shorts of like the original sketches for Lobstora and stuff like that. They have Mink Stoll's glasses from Pink Flamingos. She gifted them to the Academy, so they're the only thing that's going to eventually be part of the permanent collection at the Academy Museum. And the introduction to his exhibit is a church setting, and it is so beautiful and so wonderful and sets the tone for everything to come so well. And they're, of course, selling like John Waters' poop of trash, like tote bags and shirts and candles and stuff at the end. So if you ever wanted to buy a trash scented bar of soap,
yes,
you can do so. It's so exciting.
Wait.
It's so beautiful. One of my favorite small details, because there's tiny things all over the place, is there is like a timeline of John's career with little bits of ephemera from his private collection kind of stuck on, that starts from his birth and goes all the way up to the opening of the exhibit. And one of the points on that timeline is John becoming a member of the Academy for the first time. In his Academy application card, which to become a member of the Academy, you have to be sponsored by 2 existing members. And his membership card is signed by 2 people. One is...
Mel Brooks?
Nope.
Oh, okay.
One is Claudia Weil.
Oh, yeah.
The director of Girlfriends.
Uh-huh.
And the other is David Lynch.
I love that. I love photos of John Waters and David Lynch together when they're like young men in the 70s.
They're so sweet. And they still see each other. There's photos of them recently. Yeah. It's so precious.
Yeah.
David got him into the Academy. That's such a clutch move too, of like, you want me to call in one of my friends to sign my Academy card? Here's David Lynch.
I love that so much. I love John Waters. He's one of the most foundational artists to me. I mean, I just love him. Wait, let me ask you this. What's your favorite John Waters movie?
You can tell so much about a person based on what their favorite John Waters movie is. It's very, very telling. Mine might be one of the nichest, because apparently that's who I am as a person. My favorite is Desperate Living.
I love Desperate Living.
I love Desperate Living. Desperate Living is my favorite. It has been. It will always be. Because it's kind of right. It's the last of the like really roughy Dreamland movies, like Female Trouble and Pink Flamingos. But it's like right before he's getting into the more like mainstream polished stuff, like Polyester and Serial Mom and Crybaby and stuff like that. So it like has more production value than anything else that he has done before, but still just a bunch of weirdos in the woods on cardboard sets.
It's maybe the grossest in some ways.
It's very much the grossest. It's the transist, and it's like still upsetting to certain people.
Yes. I might say Desperate Living if it had Divine in it, but it doesn't. So mine are either... in my heart, I think my favorite might be Polyester.
Polyester is incredible.
But I really love... It's either Female Trouble or Polyester, because I love that Divine Edith Massey pairing that you get in those 2.
Female Trouble is my partner's favorite. And it's... I mean... undeniable. When John spoke and with Peaches Christ before Serial Mom the other night, he was saying how when Female Trouble came out, no one cared about it and they dismissed it as a lesser than Pink Flamingos knockoff.
It's way better than Pink Flamingos.
It's so much better. And he was like,
Miles
and now
better.
people have finally come around to realizing that it's incredible. And now I'm just waiting for people to do the same for Desperate Living.
Yep.
Just because Divine's not in it, everyone overlooks it.
Well, Divine is really special.
Divine is very special.
Divine was the secret sauce to John Waters' success, just plain and simple. So I do feel the lack of Divine in Desperate Living, but that's like a quibble because I think Meek Stoll and Edith Massey are just as special in some ways. I think Jean Hill is really special. That's the most we get of her. So it's got a lot to speak for it, but I do miss Divine during
I know. I do think, though, that Desperate Living is both Mink and Edith's best performances. Or best roles, at least.
I would agree with that. Especially when Meek Stoll turns evil and she's just like Maleficent stirring a giant cauldron. Like, that's how I want to be in my life, basically.
And that comes out of fucking nowhere. It just happens.
It's delightful. You're right about the energy in Los Angeles, but there's another reason. And not just that it's gray and a little bit crisp outside, which is lovely, but this week the Writers Guild and the AMPTP started meeting again.
Good.
And by the time that this airs, I suspect the strike will be over. That's my psychic vibe. It could be over as soon as today.
I did see this morning, the day that we're recording this, that the actual heads of the studios are finally meeting.
Yeah, that happened. That started happening yesterday and is continuing today. So, like, if you don't know, listener, the AMPTP is like spokespeople on behalf of lawyers hired by the studio, basically, who form like a committee. For the first time this week, they were getting nowhere. So the actual presidents of these companies joined the meeting. So Bob Iger from Disney, Zaslav from Warner Brothers Discovery, so on and so forth. So it feels like stuff is getting done. And I can't wait. I just want to go back to work. I'm so tired of this strike. But it does make me feel heartened. Like, I feel like the end is in sight. Whether or not this will be the longest strike in Hollywood history remains to be seen. We're very close to it being the longest. The longest was like 156 days in the 80s, and we're at just about that. Like, any day now we're hitting that. So it's been a really tough year. But it feels like the end is in sight, which feels good. But I did watch some not good, but interesting things. I was thinking about when I was a little boy in the 80s and I first got interested in horror movies. And, this was during the time of video stores, and not just video stores, but I lived in Kentucky and Florida and the South. And I don't know if this was true everywhere. I imagine it was. But at Piggly Wiggly, which is the grocery store, there were like, you could rent videos at the grocery store. They had like a
We had that in Indiana at the Marsh.
Did you?
Yes.
Okay, good. So 2 VHS covers that I always think about, and I remember begging my mom to rent them, and she was like, no, you're 4 or whatever. One was Blood Beach, the cover of which...
Oh my God, I love the Blood Beach cover.
Had a woman in a bikini top screaming as she's like being sucked into the sand, sort of Tremors style, and it says... just when you think it's safe to go back in the water, you can't get to it, which is such a great tagline, which I'd never seen until the past week. And the other one was a movie called Gator Bait, which surprised me was from the 70s. I thought it was an 80s movie because I always saw the cover at like many video stores in the 80s, which the cover is very evocative. It's like a girl in a no top. She's a hot girl, and turns out she's a Playboy playmate, which makes sense. She's in a denim cutoff vest with no top underneath and like denim hot pants, and she's like squatted on a swamp tree with like a knife, and it says Gator Bait. So these are the movies that I like was dying to see as a kid, and they're the VHS covers I always think about when I think about that era. So I finally watched them, and they're both bad.
I've always wanted to see Blood Beach, so...
It's only on YouTube.
Great.
So it's like a pan and scan version, which you'll love. It's fine. Blood Beach is the fun one of the two, I would say. Gator Bait turns out is a rape and revenge film, sort of similar to like I Spit on Your Grave or that kind of movie, which I don't really like that genre that much personally. But it just kind of I don't know, it was just an interesting exercise in like, oh yeah, I've always wanted to see these two movies. They're like foundational memories, the images of these. And it was like sort of an exercise in like how the image of something compares to the actual thing, or your idea of something compares to the actual thing, and how that could be so disappointing sometimes.
I mean, as someone who literally my job is to make the like first impression art for either home video or for a poster for a movie, it's a big weight to be like, okay, what does this movie feel like, and how do we convince people to see it? And honestly, my favorite things in the world are posters that oversell their movies.
Well,
I love a movie. I love a poster or a VHS cover that's like, look at all this shit, and the movie's like the driest, worst made thing on a 16 millimeter, and you're like,
right,
okay.
like the Andy Warhol Dracula poster that has like giraffes on it,
and like a mummy and shit like that. That's not that poster is in my living room for a fucking reason.
That's why I kind of wanted to bring it up, because I wanted your insight on this. I think it's fun. I still love that those covers, but yeah. I always think, too, when I was a little boy, I was obsessed with this cartoon, naturally, called Gem and the Holograms.
Oh,
which was, like, just the most insane girls' cartoon from the early 80s. But the opening credits had these, like, clips of, like, there's a gem swinging over the Nile on a vine as, like, a crocodile tries to come out and eat her. It's like, these things are never on this show. That doesn't make any sense.
I love shit like that so much. I weirdly had a sort of inverse experience of that recently. I'm sure I mentioned it on the podcast that we watched Spookies a few months ago. God. Speaking of like an 80s like VHS movie that most people know the cover for but haven't seen. That has a great cover with a whole bunch of shit going on. And the movie weirdly gives you everything that's on the cover.
It truly does. It's like
but
50
it
movies combined. It's so bad. I have a very distinct memory of watching that on VHS in the late 80s with my best friend Jeff, and at some point being like, do you understand what's happening? Like, even as small children understanding that something was really off. Do you know what movie really had a disappointing cover? Even though I love this movie, like this is a 5-star movie to me, I was so disappointed as a child that the movie April Fool's Day does not contain the noose braid from the cover.
Oh my god.
You know what I mean?
I get it. First of all, I love April Fool's Day. I love that poster. I love that video cover. However, to me, that's a very like metaphorical graphic symbol in the same way like there's no pram in Rosemary's Baby.
Right, but I was a 5-year-old, so I didn't necessarily understand it. And I do think it would be cool to have a braid in the shape of a noose. Like, if I ever get to be a showrunner of a Sabrina-type show, that's going in. Yeah. For sure.
Or if you ever have a drag act and you're going on Dragula, that's a look you can do.
For sure.
Just saying. Honestly, if I was ever a guest judge on Dragula, I would be like, let's do a challenge where you do iconic looks from horror posters.
Horror films. Great challenge.
That's a great one to do.
Yeah.
Boulez, you've got my number.
I think their whole show is that, but...
Yes, it is. Trust me.
Anyway, let's get to it, shall we? Mm-hmm. This is a classic art house film from 1979, directed by Werner Herzog. It is Nosferatu, the Vampyre, or Vampire, however you take your pick.
Ich lege keinen Wert mehr auf Sonnenschein und blitzende Fontänen, für die sich die Jugend begeistern mag. Ich liebe die Dunkelheit und die Schatten.
Jonathan, fahr nicht. Ich habe ein Gefühl.
Ach was.
Du wirst in Gefahr sein. Fahr nicht.
Wird mein Essen.
Yeah. AKA in Germany, Nosferatu Phantom der Nacht. Nosferatu, the Phantom of the Night.
Ooh,
which is a very Herzog kind of title.
It's a good title. This movie stars two art house legends. Klaus Kinski plays Dracula. Isabelle Adjani of Possession fame plays Lucy.
We get two more art house legends as well. We also get Bruno Ganz as Jonathan, her betrothed, Bruno Ganz from The American Friend and Wings of Desire. And in the role of Renfield, we get maybe the best thing in the movie, Roland Topor, who's more famous today as having written the animated film Fantastic Planet and objectively Roman Polanski's best movie, The Tenant.
I'm going to move away from that without engaging in it. This movie, synopsis-wise, is very easy to talk about. It is Bram Stoker's Dracula, channeled through the aesthetic of 1922's silent film Nosferatu, which Werner Herzog has said is the best German film of all time. And that's kind of it. I mean, he makes minor changes. He changes a location from England to Germany. He condenses characters here and there, stuff like that. But it's Bram Stoker's Dracula. I had seen this once before and only very recently. You saw this for the first time. What were your sort of like headline thoughts?
I did. So I love Dracula as a book, as a property so much. I know the beats of this story inside and out. I'm doing my best to see every version and iteration and see how things change. The biggest and most compelling thing to me is that, like, viewing this as a Herzog movie, you can really tell what are the elements in the story and in the making of this kind of a thing that Werner Herzog is the most interested in. In that way, it kind of reminded me of David Lynch's Dune, and I don't mean that in a bad way.
Okay.
But you know how in Dune, you can tell that David Lynch has absolutely no interest in the mythology of, like, the science fiction of it all and the sainthood and the, like, martyrdom and all that. He has no fucking interest in the late Joseph Campbell of that story. He's more interested in, like, let's look at the goopy villain people. Aren't they weird? And you're like, okay, got it.
Can't blame him. I mean, I am interested in all that stuff. I love Dune, the book, and I love fantasy and sci-fi, so I do get both sides of this. But I do like his version of Dune quite a lot.
Yeah. Meanwhile, in Nosferatu, the Werner Herzog film, you definitely get the idea that, like, oh, all the stuffy bourgeois period costume scenes, he's just setting the camera up and, like, having a smoke break. But as soon as there's rats, as soon as we're going through the Borgo Pass, as soon as we're, like, getting any kind of, like, scenes with Klaus Kinski, oh, he is fucking rock hard and shooting whatever he wants. And that's the best stuff in this movie. He's this is a very class conscious version of Dracula. This is a very existentialist version of Dracula. It's also a very, like, still and staid version of Dracula. It's very rigid.
Understatement. I really like this movie. I think it's very aesthetic. You know, there are shots that really truly take your breath away. I will say the thing that people who don't like art house movies think of art house movies, it is boring, for lack of a better word. And I like this movie. So that's not even a knock. It's just a quality of the movie. I had a few false starts with this movie where there's like a whole segment in the beginning when Jonathan Harker is traveling to the castle, and it's just like long nature shots of Czechoslovakia where they filmed this over like monks chanting basically. And every time I've watched this, I've fallen asleep in that segment. And it is very beautiful to look at. And if I were seeing this at a theater or with friends, it would be a different story. But anytime those monks are chanting, I am out.
Snoozeville.
And it's okay. I don't mean it as a knock necessarily. It's just like, that is a quality of this movie that I just want to be honest about for me.
It's very, very intentional. And even all of the performances are very toned down. I saw that to get a toned down performance out of Klaus Kinski, the least toned down human being alive. Werner Herzog had to intentionally pick fights with him before they would shoot scenes so that Kinski would freak the fuck out and like scream at him and be too exhausted by the time they actually got to the scene to be energetic.
I think Klaus Kinski is pretty brilliant in this. I think there's a case to be made that he is the spookiest Dracula.
He's fucking
really
unsettling.
Creepy. Yeah,
he's really
creepy.
goddamn creepy. And that's helped a lot just by the mere fact that he is Klaus Kinski.
Yes, probably.
And is a little fucking asshole and kind of a rapist.
And he's Nosferatu as well, right? Like, he's not the handsome Dracula. We're getting the silent film Nosferatu, which is creepy. So
yeah,
Gary we get that. We get that with Gary Oldman in the beginning of Francis Ford Coppola's, but once he becomes handsome, he loses a lot of his scariness to me. But
yeah, which makes it all the more fascinating and fun when at the end of this movie, Isabelle Adjani kind of like sexually surrenders to him a little bit, and you're like, he's a little rat boy.
Yeah. He's a weird little guy. Derogatory. Speaking of Isabelle Adjani, we were texting about this a little bit. I am really frustrated that in the English version of this, they dub her, because Isabelle Adjani, as we know, speaks English very well and has a lovely speaking voice. And
she had been in Walter Hill's The Driver like 2 years before this.
Yeah, what's
speaking
the deal
English?
With that?
I have no idea. It sounds a little bit like her, but so they made 2 versions of this. They made Nosferatu the Vampyre and Nosferatu Phantom der Nacht. And Phantom der Nacht, that was the version that Herzog was making. He had a co-production deal with Fox in America, and they requested that he make an English language version. Mm-hmm. So they shot companion English language scenes as they were shooting the movie, not unlike the way that the Laemmle Universal version of Dracula from the 1930s shot a Spanish version of the same sets.
Yeah.
With a different cast. They shot a version that's partially in English as they were shooting. Not everything was shot for English, but the majority of it was. And then they went back and did English overdubs for the scenes that they didn't shoot. And so Isabelle Adjani is entirely dubbed, I believe. Bruno Ganz is doing his performance in English on set. The most interesting thing, though, is Roland Topor, who plays Renfield. He's doing his in English on set. However, the biggest character trait of his performance is the maniacal laughter that he has through every scene.
He's so good.
Incredible. Which was a lot more toned down for the German version. Like, significantly toned down. But I think because Herzog cared a little bit less about the English language version, he let him go a lot more full bore. And honestly, it's great.
Yeah, I love it. Herzog,
if I had to like mix and match the 2 versions together, I would do the German language version to get Isabelle Adjani and everyone's real voices and original performances, but then I would get Roland Topor's English language performance.
The dubbed voice for Isabelle Adjani kind of, to me, sounded like Delphine Seyrig from
Daughters of Darkness. Yeah.
But still, I would rather have Isabelle's actual voice.
I know, but she is one of the best performances in this movie. She's
so beautiful. Like, she's like supernaturally beautiful, that woman.
I know. She never blinks this whole fucking movie. And her long black hair is like stick straight. And she spends the whole movie just like heaving and breathing heavily. One of the most beautiful scenes in the whole movie is like all done in one take, where she's sitting at a vanity and Kinski's shadow appears on the door behind her. The door opens itself, closes itself with his shadow on it, and then he slinks up behind her. It's a crazy in-camera take.
Yeah.
That's such a great little special effect. But then on top of that, it's him just standing next to her, talking about how I am a vampire and your husband is corrupted by me and you will be my bride and I need you to submit to me because being a vampire is so awful. And she just whips around to him and goes like full existential gloomy goth girl at him until she weirds him out. It's amazing.
There's a lot of great shots of her in bed at night in darkness with her hair kind of spread out like Elvira's and like a key light over her eyes, like lots of old school gothic kind of shots like that. And the scenes where he feeds off of her are actually really disturbing in a way that most Dracula movies aren't for me, because it just is. The way he shoots and the film stock feels sort of documentary style, and it feels real in a way that's like truly icky.
So much of this movie is shot with like a single spotlight to let everything fall off down to blackness, sort of emulating the like silent film like iris look.
Yeah.
But it's such a weird way of recreating that because it gives it that kind of documentary feel, like we're not supposed to be in this room and it's being caught with like a camera that shouldn't be. It's so fucking unnerving and cheap and weird and gross. It's great. When he feeds on Bruno Gens, it's shot the exact same way as when he feeds on Isabella Johnny, and it's so fucking beautiful.
Yeah.
Oh
Speaking of gross, if you love rats, boy, is this a movie for you. It's
or maybe not.
Or not. So that's bringing me to my point. There is a ton of animal cruelty associated with this movie. It's not on screen per se, but what happened off camera is so vile that I won't repeat it here. But know that it happened. And
a lot of animals died in the making of this movie.
What I read was truly vile, and I'm not that sensitive about that necessarily, but I was like, holy shit, wow.
Just unacceptably. Awful. They wanted gray rats. They could only get white rats, so they went through some really fucked up means to make white rats gray rats, and that's all we'll say. They made horrendous choices. And that's not all, Yeah.
It's really bad. Is Werner Herzog nice? Like, why? I guess he's not nice. Do we hate Werner Herzog? And if not, why not? I mean, in this era where we're so like vigilant about famous people's behavior, have we given him a pass on all of these things? I actually don't know that much about Werner Herzog, so I'm genuinely asking.
I feel like, I don't know. I feel like contemporary audience. I was having this conversation just the other day. I feel like contemporary audiences have this view of Werner Herzog similar to how some audiences might have a view of John Waters or of maybe Alfred Hitchcock, in the idea of they know the image of this director.
Mm-hmm.
They know his like cultural persona, but they may have not have actually seen his films.
That's where I'm sitting, because I'd only seen Grizzly Man, I think. So I know him as like, I think of his voice, his famous voice, his somberness, and I think of him as like a documentarian mostly, because that's what I've seen of his.
People can like do an impression of Werner Herzog because he's been on cartoons and like he was on Parks and Rec and The Mandalorian, and he like got freaked out by Aubrey Plaza and like, you know, he just wants to see the baby on The Mandalorian, and so people could like make memes about him. But he's also like one of the foundational directors of the German New Wave, along with Rainer Werner Fassbinder and Wim Wenders. Like,
but I've seen way more Fassbinder movies than I have Herzog movies, and I'm not sure why, if that's just personal taste and what I'm interested in. But
yeah, I mean, same. I've only seen, this is now the third Herzog film I've seen. I've also seen Fitzcarraldo with Klaus Kinski, which is a fucking classic. This is not a Herzog movie, but I've also seen the Les Blank documentary about the making of Fitzcarraldo, Burden of Dreams, which is like, you learn a lot about Werner Herzog and what he's willing to do in that. Also, like, human beings died making Fitzcarraldo too. Like, and then the first one I saw, I didn't even know that it was a Herzog film. because I watched it when it came out in 2009 when I was probably 14. The Nicolas Cage-led Bad Lieutenant Port Call, New Orleans, the pseudo-sequel to the Abel Ferrara film.
Wild. I had no idea that existed.
Wild. To which Abel Ferrara said, got mad that it was made and then said, I don't even know who this Werner Herzog is. And it's like, okay, Abel, you're lying.
Yes, you do. Come
yes,
on.
you do.
This movie has a sequel, doesn't it? Nosferatu in Venice, is that right?
Sort of. It's like in name only.
Okay.
Basically, an Italian producer years later was like working with Klaus Kinski and was like, we make you play the vampire. And he was like, okay, sure, fine. So
Klaus Kinski will do anything for a bottle of gin.
And an underage woman.
Yeah.
Preferably his daughter.
God.
I feel like, so culturally, I feel like we all hate Klaus Kinski, and justifiably so, to the point that we kind of overlook some of the worst things about Herzog. But also, like, at this point, Herzog's just a depressed old man.
Yeah.
So, but he and Wim Wenders both have kind of transitioned into just making documentaries lately.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just like, okay.
It is kind of my blanket policy to just not be offended by things that happened 30 or 40 years ago, because it feels like a waste of my time and energy.
Fair.
But it gets a little more complicated when that person is still alive and, you know what I mean? Like,
Working.
I don't know.
Yeah. I mean, for as far as I know, he hasn't mutilated any animals lately.
Right. Yeah, times are different. You could definitely murder rats en masse in 1979, which is a year before I was born. I don't know if an American film could have done that. I mean, they had there's a lot of 70s Italian movies, for instance, that have some real icky animal cruelty in them. And we did
Cannibal Holocaust and all those movies.
Cannibal Holocaust, Don't Deliver Us from Evil, which I loved, had some animal cruelty in it. So it's just like a different cultural thing, maybe.
It was a different time. They didn't have souls. PETA didn't exist. We didn't know PETA sucked.
Do you know PETA the headquarters is a block from my house?
I know.
It's really weird.
It's unfortunate. They keep trying to steal your dog.
Yeah.
I should also say... Oh, go ahead.
No. I was going to say, I don't like the score of this movie. I don't like the monk chanting. I find it dull. And then the non-chanting score feels too kind of bright and happy to me. And it just feels really inappropriate and doesn't set the right tone for me.
I like the score of this movie. Apparently the German language version has a slightly different score. Mm-hmm. I don't know. I haven't seen it, but I am going to be picking up the Werner Herzog box set after this that does contain both options. So,
wow, you support animal cruelty? Is that what you're saying? Wow.
I mean, listen, at my last job there was a rat infestation because they moved like a homeless camp. And the rats were like swarming in the streets and like trying to crawl up into the building, and there was construction workers next door, and they were literally chopping off rats' heads with shovels. Ugh. And then like using brooms to like sweep the like live rats into the highway so they would just be run over by the cars and stuff like that. And I was just like, there's gotta be a better way.
Jesus.
It's fucking
God, that's so disgusting.
In this decade, what's going on? There's better ways of doing that. So, like, the animal cruelty in this movie is fucking needless. But I'm also like...
It's rats. Let's be,
I want to be nice to rats, but also, like... Rats.
I'm not the biggest fan, I'll be honest.
Didn't New York put out a call for, like, a rat czar a few years ago?
Yes, they did. There's a lot of rats in New York. I mean, the number of rats, there's more rats than people. Oh my God, my boyfriend Joel, he's traveling right now for work, and he sent me a video that was meant to be cute of an armadillo kind of unrolling from its ball. And I was like, Joel, this is disgusting. I grew up in a trailer in Florida where armadillos were constantly banging around in like the metal ducts of our trailer. So, and they carry diseases, and they're like, they look like ball sacks when they're all rolled up. Like, they're so vile to me, and I can't imagine thinking that an armadillo is cute.
I think armadillos are cute. Sorry. I mean, raccoons are the best example of like oscillating between cute and like horrendous little vermin.
I adore raccoons. They are the punks of the animal world, along with skunks. They run Echo Park, my neighborhood.
Yes, they do.
Just love them. Little badasses with cute outfits.
They're just little goths. They dress like me. Black and white.
What were you going to say when I interrupted you to tell you how much I didn't like the score of this?
I was going to say that similarly to this movie being made and released in 1979, like 5 other Dracula movies came out in 1979, including the American-produced one with Sir Laurence Olivier as Van Helsing and not Robert Loggia. What the fuck is his name?
I have no idea.
Oh,
Didn't
my
Curtis,
God.
what's his name from Dark Shadows, make one?
He did
This
in he made it for TV. Frank Langella.
Oh, yeah.
Frank Langella, Donald Pleasance, and Sir Laurence Olivier. It was made at Universal in 79. It was them being like, remember Dracula? We're gonna give him to you prestige and horny this time. And all of this is to say, in 1979, Bram Stoker's book of Dracula became public domain.
Yes.
That is why we had a glut of Dracula movies. We had like 5 official Dracula movies, but then we also had technically non-Dracula vampire movies that were also coming out in 79, including the disco Dracula movie that I love so much, Love at First Bite.
Mm-hmm.
Which is a banger.
We talked about this at some point, and I don't know why, because we never covered this movie, but it is important to, I guess, to say, to your point about this becoming public domain in 1979, this is cribbing from the silent film Nosferatu, which was a lost film for a long time, because when it was made in the 20s, Bram Stoker's widow sued and won. And so all of the prints of that film were to be destroyed. So some brave, thankfully, some brave souls kept print copies in secret. So once it became, public domain, it got spread out again. And now it's a much beloved silent film, but it was almost lost.
It was almost lost.
A lawsuit.
Those prints were found in the late 60s, I believe, after the majority of the Stoker family that had been alive at the time had passed away, and they started screening them. I don't know if legally or not at the time. I don't know what the situation was. But that's when it kind of came back into circulation and public consciousness. And that's when everyone was like, oh my God, a fucking banger.
Yeah. Beautiful movie.
Like you were saying, including Herzog. It's when he says it's the best German film ever made. I don't know if I disagree with him.
Yeah,
it's
I'd buy
incredible.
that. Yeah.
It's better than his movie. Listen, I love this movie a lot.
Yeah, I like this movie.
However, Nosferatu is incredible.
Yeah, I would only recommend this movie to people who I know are super into art house movies. It is like very arty farty.
This is, I think, and this is something that I feel like, the difference in the oscillation comes up a lot on the show. But this one, while it's a vampire story, while it's literally Dracula, it's much more of an art house film than it is a horror film. There's barely any blood. It's so much more talking about like sociopolitical ideas and existential dread and nature than it is like wanting to show you boobs and blood. Though this movie has one of the most beautiful set pieces of all time, in which the rats overrun the city.
Yes, beautiful.
So goddamn well. First of all, we get like the canal being overwhelmed by the ship of the Demeter, just like crashing into it.
That was kind of my favorite stuff in this movie, is like the Demeter onward, because this really interestingly like brings in the rats, and it also brings in an element of the plague, which I thought was really cool and interesting, and I loved all of that stuff.
Yeah, and all the townsfolk are dying in mass, and so you get this great kind of like town-wide funeral procession of just coffins coming from everywhere being carried by like the only living townsfolk, as Isabella Johnny like tosses herself in between pallbearers, asking, saying that she knows what to do, and they're all like, the mayor's dead, the police are dead, like, fuck off, ma'am.
It's a great, like, beautiful dinner scene that kind of looks like the Last Supper, where they're just like at a long table eating dinner, and there are just like thousands and thousands of rats behind them and under them, and it's just beautiful.
And then there's a jump cut, and they're all gone, and then there's just rats on the table.
Yeah.
So beautiful. And then they're just dancing in the street, covered in rats.
Of haunting and beautiful, we forgot to mention the opening credits, which are over... it's kind of shocking. The first time I saw this, I was pretty shocked and disturbed. The opening credits are over footage of real life mummies.
Yeah,
and
in Mexico.
When I Googled it, it's in Mexico somewhere. And these were people who succumbed to a cholera outbreak in the 1800s. So these are natural mummies in a cave.
Oh, Lord.
And you can see what gender they were. Some of them still have a little hair. Some of them are wearing their shoes are still intact, but they're like these shriveled up real mummies. And it's very beautiful and disturbing. It kind of reminded me of being like, I've gone to the catacombs in Paris, which are those tunnels that are just made out of skeletons and skulls. It's really disturbing and sort of hauntingly beautiful in a way. And I just thought that was such a fucking cool part of this movie for me.
It's very cool and very upsetting. It just opens with that too.
Yeah.
There's no like logos, and it just starts on like mummy face and then like tracks over them. I don't know if Herzog went down to Mexico and filmed that, or if that's
he had the idea because he had visited that place before. I don't know if he filmed that himself or just like used someone else's footage or what, but it really works for me.
I do know that there's frequent slow motion shots of a bat flying in this movie that Herzog just licensed from a nature documentary.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Just honestly,
that's all right.
Dope. Fuck yeah, man.
Yeah.
Stock footage worked a whole lot better being integrated in movies back in like the 70s and 60s than it does now. It's very obvious now.
Film is a collaborative art form. Sometimes that collaboration includes stock houses.
I want to just say that the biggest difference in this version of Nosferatu, in this version of Dracula in general, is the end.
Mm-hmm.
Every version of Nosferatu and every version of Dracula, for like especially Nosferatu, like if you've seen the 1920s version, it ends with him, leaning over her, drinking her blood until he's distracted and the sun rises, and then he stands up and he's killed by the sun, which is something that was invented for the F.W. Murnau film. That's never in the Book of Dracula of the Bram Stoker book, that vampires are allergic to the sun. Entirely invented for the movie.
Yeah.
And similarly, Klaus Kinski dies from being exposed to the sun by being distracted by her and drops to the ground dead. And I was like, okay, cool, movie over. And then it cuts down to downstairs, where Jonathan Harker is still like sitting and waiting, and he's like been enshrined in a circle of the Eucharist, like broken up into little chips. And our Van Helsing character comes in and decides that he needs to drive a stake through Kinski's body so that he will be truly dead forever. And Jonathan Harker, played by Bruno Ganz, yells at him not to do it. We hear it happen upstairs. And then some of the townsfolk come inside from all the commotion. And Jonathan Harker says, he murdered him. He murdered the Count. And the stake has like hammer film red blood all over it, like ketchup red blood. Like the most vivid color in this whole movie. And they kind of go into a little like Abbott and Costello routine for a second with what to do with him. Because there's this like these two townsfolk being like, he must be arrested. We don't have cops. Well, you arrest him. I've never arrested him. Like a little like jaunty back and forth.
The cops are dead. Yeah.
It's very odd. The tone kind of jumps all over the place in this movie, and this sequence specifically has a lot of comedy to it. And they eventually haul him away, and Jonathan Harker has his maid wipe away the Eucharist, and then he does a little like bunny hop out of it, which is very funny. Only to reveal that he now has similar Nosferatu front fangs.
Buck-tooth, fang teeth.
Yep.
Front fangs, yes.
And he's gone full vamp mode. And he demands that things be cleaned up and that he has much work to do and to get his horse. And then he rides out through the desert.
Love
a
it.
new immortal being to spread the disease.
Anything else to say about this film?
I think it's a very wonderful little oddity, and I love that Herzog changes the meaning and the narrative of it by changing the ending. I love that he robs this movie of its kind of staid conclusion, and he seems to be pro-vampire. And you know what?
Yeah.
I love that attitude of this movie. I love the respect for nature and life in this movie, even though nature and life were not respected
Yeah.
in the making of this movie. Yeah, I think this movie is for specific palates, but I think it's quite good. And yeah, I'm eager to see our next version of Nosferatu, which is
By
being
my
delivered to
boyfriend,
us
Robert Eggers.
by Josh's boyfriend, Robert Eggers. To complete the trilogy, not unlike Fassbender remade Douglas Sirk's All That Heaven Allows as Ali Fears the Soul, and then Todd Haynes did it again. Yeah. I'm liking these cyclical remakes with German New Wave filmmakers. Let's go.
Me too. It's like all the remakes of A Star Is Born, but for cool people. Let's pivot and play our favorite game, Have They Seen It?, where we speculate wildly whether notable figures have seen this movie. I'm thinking of this person because you mentioned her earlier, star of Parks and Rec, Aubrey Plaza. Do you think she's seen Werner Herzog's Nosferatu?
Oh, 1,000%. She's very, very cool. She has very, very, very good taste in movies. She's like a Criterion kiddo. Have you seen her like Criterion top 10 list that she did? It's like nothing but like Antonioni and Bergman.
Do you know what?
She rocks.
I don't know her, but we have some mutual friends, and so sometimes I'm at like a barbecue or something with her, and I'm not a starstruck person, but she scares the shit out of me. Like something about Aubrey Plaza is so intimidating. Like that April Ludgate quality exists with her as a human being on Earth. She's scary to me.
I've only run into her one time, and it was at a New Beverly screening of Something Wild and Married to the Mob. And I was in line for popcorn behind her at Something Wild, and I was just a little. I don't get starstruck that often, and I was just like I couldn't move. It was very weird. I think she's awesome.
Weird quality.
I love. She did like a late night talk show appearance after Herzog was on the final season of Parks and Rec, and she said that she scared him by asking him if he'd ever seen a ghost, and he just yelled at her, "I do not talk about such things," and walked away.
She's very funny, and I love her as an actor. She scares the shit out of me in person because she's just really, she's like the coolest girl from your high school or whatever, you know.
Truly.
Like, she really does have that quality.
I think
she's seen this too.
Oh yeah, I think she's definitely seen it. I think she enjoys it. I think she thinks it's funny as hell.
Yeah.
Because it is. It is in parts. Yeah.
It is, yeah.
Isabella Adjani is fucking incredible in this movie. And she delivers a great manic performance, but not as great as the manic performance that she gives a few years later in Possession.
Mm-hmm.
Do you think Possession director Andrzej Zulawski may be the best Polish director of all time, next to Andrzej Wajda, saw Nosferatu?
Yeah, I think so. Don't you?
I can see it. I don't know if he loved it or not.
No, I don't know that either.
I mean, maybe his takeaway was, wow, she's incredible.
Yeah, well, he did cast her, right? So,
yeah, exactly.
Yeah, she is incredible in this.
And she is incredible.
I think because of the Isabel Adjani connection, I think yes. I don't know if that's why he cast her or anything, but because she's also in The Tenant, which she's wonderful in.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah. Or maybe he just really loved The Driver and was like, get me that girl.
Yeah.
Big fan of 70s car movies. Andre.
So I'm thinking of other versions of Dracula. My favorite is probably, it's kind of a cliche for people my age, but my favorite is Bram Stoker's Dracula by Francis Ford Coppola.
Same.
Do you think the star of that, Winona Ryder, has seen this version?
Oh, very much so. Same in that kind of Aubrey Plaza vein of like, the reason that Dracula was made was because she read the book and loved it so much that she wanted to make a movie out of it. And like, I kind of get the vibe that like in the early 90s when she was going through her Tim Burton Dracula phase,
Yeah.
she wanted to watch every version before making hers. And I feel like she absolutely checked this one out from whatever little library had a tape for her.
Oh my God. I just had a flashback to Bram Stoker's Dracula coming out, and my friend Kira at the time, when I was like 12 when it came out, she went and saw it with her mom because that's the only way she could see it. And her mom, after the movie, was like, where was Winona Ryder in that movie? And Kira was like, what are you talking about? She's in like every scene. And they started talking about it, and eventually come to find out that her mom had switched Winona Ryder and Winona Judd. Because she loved the Judds. And so she thought that Winona Judd was in Dracula.
Oh no, honey.
Oh boy.
There's not that many Winonas, I will say.
No, it's true.
Well, speaking of great 90s vampire movies, the Nosferatu vibe of the F.W. Murnau one was recreated one other time after this film in the 90s, but in a very postmodern way. In Eli's Marriage's Shadow of the Vampire, in which Willem Dafoe plays the actor Max Schreck as just having looked like that and actually being a vampire. Which is a banger of a movie. It's very, very, very good. Carrie Elways is hot as hell in it. Highly recommend it. It's really fun. But that movie was not intended to star Willem Dafoe. It was produced by an actor who has a very long obsession with the F.W. Murnau movie and with Dracula, because his uncle made the version of Dracula we were just talking about, Nicolas Cage. He was slated to star in Shadow of the Vampire, and he produced Shadow of the Vampire. He had to step away because I think he was making like Con Air or The Rock at the time and couldn't fulfill his commitments. And so he recommended Willem Dafoe take the role, which is awesome. And of course,
amazing.
Cage has gone on to since play Dracula in Renfield, in which he was incredible. But do you think Nicolas Cage has seen Werner Herzog's Nosferatu?
100%. I just can't imagine a world where he hasn't. I think he's seen, like us, like every version of Dracula that he can get his hands on. Don't you think?
I strongly agree. However, I don't think he's seen the English version that we watched. I think he only watches the German version.
I mean, I hear it's better. Werner Herzog says it's better.
Yeah. I think, did he say that's like, it's the culturally important one, or like culturally...
He said it's quote unquote more authentic. Like, authentic to what? Like, do you know what I mean? Like, authentic how? But whatever, that's what he said. I guess to his vision.
He does say a lot of things. One of my favorite Werner Herzog isms is he was speaking at something like 10 years ago, and he was talking about how he is a very simple man who doesn't notice many things. And he was like, I have been friends with John Waters since the 70s. We've known each other for 30 years. He's a great, great man. I love his movies very much. He's very sweet. You know, we've known each other for a very long time. And we were at an event together, and John was like speaking on stage, and I was backstage with my wife, and I turned to my wife and I said, I'm starting to believe that John might be a homosexual.
Oh boy. Wow, what an observant person.
He's very oblivious. I love him so much.
Well, this is like a movie that I like. I'm hesitant to recommend it to just anybody. I would be very specific about who I recommended it to. It did make me want to like rewatch Bram Stoker's Dracula. It did make me excited for the Robert Eggers one that's coming up. It did make me want to play Vampire the Masquerade, the 90s tabletop role-playing game that I love
really
so
want to
much.
play that game. I've never played it. I really want to play it.
Fun. It's so fun. Yeah, I think that's it for this episode of Bloodhouse. Please rate it 5 stars wherever you listen to podcasts. You can email us at bloodhousepod@gmail.com. You can follow us on Twitter or Instagram. Drusilla, where are you these days online?
My work is over at sisterhidedesign.com. You can go find my stuff over there. I've got new Cure prints that should be available from my website very shortly, if not already. So go check that out. They're going to be very, very, very limited. They're already sold out from the Cure's website. So this is the only way to get them. And they're from me. And so they've been touched by my grubby little hands and signed by my grubby little hands. You can also find me on Instagram at Hyde Sister. And if you look for Sister Hyde or Drusilla Adeline on Letterboxd, you can find me and find out why I was watching Desperately Seeking Susan and what I thought of it there. What about you, Josh? Where do you lurk in the catacombs of the night that are... Bill Gates is the internet.
Al Gore is the internet. At Joshua Conkle on Blue Sky, Instagram, and Letterboxd. Next week we are watching something that I like very much. I almost said love. I don't know if I love it. I need to rewatch it. But I do have an interesting history with this one, and it's really worth talking about on our show for a lot of reasons. What is it?
We have a special guest coming to us, and he is bringing with him an infestation in the form of William Friedkin's bug.
Very excited for that one. All right, have a great week. Thank you so much. Bye-bye.